I was staring at 6 matching numbers on my phone screen when my husband walked into the kitchen and asked me to pass the salt like it was any other Tuesday morning. $27 million. That's what those numbers meant. And David was buttering his toast, completely oblivious that our lives had just changed forever. Or so I thought. I'd been playing the same lottery numbers for 3 years. Our anniversary date, the kids' birthdays, my mom's house number. David always rolled his eyes when I bought tickets at the gas station. "You're throwing money away, Sarah," he'd say. "The odds are ridiculous." But there I was, holding my phone with shaking hands, checking and rechecking those numbers against my ticket. The jackpot winner in our small Ohio town. That was me. Something told me not to say anything right away. Maybe it was the way David had been acting lately. Distant. Secretive with his phone. Coming home late from work with flimsy excuses. So I kept quiet. Slipped the ticket into my jewelry box and went about my day like normal. Within a week, I'd hired a lawyer and claimed the prize through a trust. The money sat there, waiting, while I watched my husband of 12 years become a stranger. David started working even later. His phone was always face down on the counter. He stopped asking about my day, stopped reaching for my hand during movies. When I tried to initiate conversations about us, about our future, he'd change the subject or suddenly remember something urgent he had to do. I told myself I was being paranoid. That the stress of keeping such a massive secret was making me imagine problems that weren't there. Then I found the credit card statement. David had opened a new account without telling me. Expensive dinners at restaurants we'd never been to together. Hotel charges in the next town over. A jewelry purchase for $800. I'd never received any jewelry. My hands were shaking as I scrolled through months of charges. My husband was having an affair, and he was using our money to fund it. But I still said nothing about the lottery. Some instinct told me to wait. 3 weeks later, David came home from work with an expression I'd never seen before. Cold. Determined. He sat me down at our kitchen table and pulled out a manila envelope. "Sarah, I want a divorce." The words hit me like a physical blow. Even though I'd suspected something was wrong, hearing it out loud felt like the ground was crumbling beneath me. "I've been unhappy for a long time," he continued, not meeting my eyes. "We've grown apart. I think it's best if we make a clean break." I stared at him. This man I'd loved since college. The father of my children. "David, we can work on this. We can go to counseling. My mind's made up." He slid papers across the table. "I've already filed. I'm asking for half of everything, plus spousal support. I think that's fair." Fair. He was cheating on me and wanted me to pay him for the privilege. I looked at those divorce papers, at his signature already there in black ink, and something inside me snapped. Not broke. Snapped into place. "I need time to process this," I said quietly. "Of course. Take all the time you need." David actually had the audacity to sound sympathetic. "I'm staying at my brother's place while we work this out." That night, I sat in my empty house and made a plan. First, I hired the best divorce attorney in the state. Then I hired a private investigator. Within 2 weeks, I had photographs of David with his secretary, Ashley. Hotel receipts. Text messages my lawyer had subpoenaed. Everything I needed to prove adultery. But I still kept the lottery win secret. David's lawyer came at me hard, demanding half our savings, half my retirement fund, half the house value. David wanted spousal support because, according to him, he'd need time to adjust to single life. During our mediation, David actually looked smug. He thought he was getting away with something. That he could cheat on me, abandon our marriage, and walk away richer for it. "I think I'm being more than generous," he told the mediator. "Sarah will be fine. She's always been good with money." That's when I played my hand. I reached into my purse and pulled out a certified letter from the Lottery Commission. I slid it across the table to my lawyer, who smiled and passed it to the mediator. David's face went white as the mediator read the letter aloud. Mrs. Henderson won the state lottery jackpot of $27 million on March 15. The prize was claimed through a trust on March 22. The silence in that room was deafening. David's lawyer was frantically whispering in his ear. David looked like he might throw up. However, my lawyer continued, since Mr. Henderson filed for divorce on April 3, citing irreconcilable differences, and since Ohio is a fault-based divorce state where adultery affects asset distribution, Mrs. Henderson's pre-separation lottery winnings are not subject to division. David found his voice. That's not fair. I didn't know about the money. My lawyer smiled coldly. Mr. Henderson, you filed for divorce claiming the marriage was irretrievably broken. You can't now argue you want to reconcile over a financial matter you were unaware of. The mediator agreed. Since David had initiated the divorce and since I could prove adultery, the lottery winnings were mine alone. David would get exactly what he'd asked for in his original filing, half of our modest savings account and no spousal support, since he'd been employed throughout our marriage. 3 months later, David was living in a studio apartment across town while I was house hunting in Hawaii. Ashley, his secretary, had apparently lost interest once she realized David wouldn't be coming into any lottery money. Funny how that worked out. The best part? David's brother told me David spent weeks trying to calculate when exactly I'd won that lottery. Wondering if I'd known about his affair when I kept quiet about the money. Driving himself crazy wondering if I'd planned the whole thing. I hadn't planned it. But I'd trusted my instincts when something felt wrong. I'd waited and watched instead of rushing to share my good news with someone who was already planning to betray me. Now I'm sitting on a beach in Maui, financially secure for life, while David works overtime to afford his studio apartment. Sometimes the universe has perfect timing. My children, both adults now, visit me here during their vacations. They've forgiven their father, but they understand why I made the choices I did. Trust, once broken, changes everything. I learned that love means wanting to share your joy with someone. But wisdom means protecting yourself when that someone has already chosen someone else. Have you experienced something like this? Tell me in the comments.